Let me tell you something and brace yourself because you probably won't believe how far some people will go to get what they want. No. Really, if you think HOA horror stories are bad, you haven't heard what happened to me in the mountains of Utah. I moved up here for silence off the grid free as a bird. Well, a bird with a mortgage and a bad back. And yet somehow I still ended up in a suburban war me versus an HOA president straight out of a Stepford nightmare fighting for land I already owned fair and square. Go figure. I'll never forget that first day unlocking the door to my so-called sanctuary. 4.7 acres of sloped piney heaven overlooking the valley, my prize after 15 years of babysitting government properties, and then 2 more being neck-deep in litigation for folks who couldn't solve their own drama. I wanted out. I wanted trees. I wanted quiet. The house wasn't much to look at, late 70s build, dark cedar siding, that kind of porch that creaks like an old friend. I wasn't looking for move-in ready. I wanted something I could fix up, you know. Heck, I once replaced roof shingles barefoot during a thunderstorm. If I survived that, I figured I could handle a little mountain fixer-upper. And here's the punchline. No HOA. That was the whole damn point. The contract spelled it out. Some wise old soul had carved my lot out of the subdivision below Summit Hill's watch and filed all the right exemptions. Their rules stopped just before my land started. It was perfect, my own little kingdom overlooking a field of pastel vinyl-wrapped uniformity. Let them have their rules. I had space and silence. Moving took a week, 3 trailer runs, 2 Home Depot trips, and 1 hernia. No, I'm not admitting it, but yeah, it still hurts. I slapped up a gate, put my name on the mailbox, and set up shop in the living room, gazing at the tree line like I was king of the mountain. For 10 whole days, I got exactly what I came for. Morning coffee on the porch, replanting pines along the north slope, drone mapping for fun. It was just me, the wind, and the slow buzz of a life finally under my own control. That fence I put up, regulation height, all permitted, nothing fancy, just my way of saying, stay on your side. But I could feel the eyes from down the hill, burning, curious, judging. And that's when Karen Grayson arrived. Tuesday, mid-morning, I'm laying gravel by the gate when a silver SUV rolls up window gliding down. She had that helmet blonde bob sunglasses so expensive they probably came with their own bodyguard and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. "You must be new," she chirps, oozing that fake neighborly charm you just know comes with a clause. Karen Grayson, HOA, President Summit Hills. She's just welcoming me, right? Except her version of neighborly included suggesting I paint the house a more harmonious color, critiquing my confrontational fence and dropping off an envelope of guidelines, not to mention a mixer invite like I was itching to join her Stepford squad. I threw her welcome packet in a drawer and forgot about it until they started taping flyers to my fence. Friendly reminder, maintain the neighborhood aesthetic. Sorry, Karen, but my land isn't part of your aesthetic prison. Flyer meet trash can. But they didn't let up. The next thing I know, random cars are idling at the bottom of my drive. People in Summit Hills vests, who even makes those snapping photos of me in the house. Security cameras went up. Motion lights, steel gate, the works. And then another envelope stuffed in my gate full of cursive threats about harmony and formal action. No name, no letterhead, just pure entitlement. I torched it in my fire pit. The thing fizzled blue, probably from Karen's perfume. And then it escalated, quiet, like the calm before a jump scare. One morning, nothing, no wind, no birds, not even distant traffic. I step outside, and there it is, a big, bold notice of immediate vacating order, zip-tied to my gate. 3 hours to leave or else. The order accused me of destabilizing neighborhood harmony, visual non-compliance, and more jargon than a bad lawyer's lunch menu. It looked official, but it smelled like horse crap. No judge, no court seal, just Karen's confidence and a logo that didn't mean squat on my land. I called her and she picked up like she'd been waiting. "You've been warned, Russ," she snapped. "You impact the community." I told her flat out, "I'm not in your HOA. She threatened emergency corrective measures anyway. After you leave, we'll make sure the property transitions smoothly." It was a slip, but I caught it. Someone wanted this land bad. So I called the sheriff. 2 hours later, a white van pulled up, 3 men in vests, a fourth with a camera, one holding bolt cutters. They hand me another document, this time with fake city seals claiming my house was auctioned off for violations. I called the sheriff again, deputies arrived, and within minutes the whole charade unraveled. The reference numbers led nowhere. My title was clean. The deputies told the HOA crew to pack it up and quietly warned me this had crossed from civil nonsense into criminal territory. But Karen wasn't done. Next came the flyers, my face plastered on every mailbox along the road. Who is living among us as if I were some wanted maniac? Reports of unregistered behavior, known to refuse compliance. I don't even own a dog, but now I was public enemy number one. Internet cutout camera feed sabotaged, then a city compliance officer knocked, citing discrepancies in my zoning. I handed him my paperwork, deed, zoning map, certificate of occupancy, everything in order. He left empty-handed, looking almost disappointed. That week I was accused of illegal tree cutting. Middle of the night, blurry photo time-stamped when I was sleeping like a log. Someone had access to city portals, filing false complaints, and even editing document metadata to make it look like I'd been violating laws before I even moved in. I traced the edits back. Karen's digital fingerprints were all over it. I fought back formally. Filed challenges, sent notarized letters, copied my lawyer on every single one, but the rumors worked faster than the truth. Neighbors started avoiding me. Phones came out when I walked by. One kid even flipped me off from his mom's minivan. Someone posted my address online, warning people not to walk by with pets or kids. It wasn't the lies that hurt. It was the slow, steady pressure, like being erased, not by force, but by paperwork and whispers. I remembered something a crooked clerk once told me. If you control the paperwork, you control the story. Karen wasn't just bossy, she was rewriting reality, painting me as the villain in her HOA saga. My file at City Hall probably weighed more than my truck tires full of bogus complaints. It was death by 1,000 documents. I'd had enough. So I stopped playing defense and started investigating. Bureaucracy leaves fingerprints, and I knew how to find them. The zoning complaint that started it all, uploaded from the Summit Hills Watch Office's IP address, HOA offices, weren't supposed to have that kind of access. Other complaints, same pattern, edited by Karen, always just before some new drama. The photo evidence of illegal tree cutting was taken 2 miles away in a park. I put everything in a dossier and sent it to my lawyer Mitchell, a specialist in municipal overreach. This is criminal fraud, he said, like prison-level fraud. And then the twist, an anonymous email landed in my inbox. Subject: You're not crazy. Attached was a zip file. Inside, HOA board meeting minutes, budgets, and a PowerPoint labeled Proposed South Slope Acquisition Strategy. There was a satellite image of my property circled in red: acquisition priority high, non-compliant owner, solution procedural displacement via HOA cooperation. Karen was in bed with a regional developer, Elevate Land Holdings, who wanted my land for Phase 3 of their condo project. They'd been planning this for months. Suddenly it all clicked. Out of nowhere, a man in his 40s, Eric Taylor, a Summit Hills board member, knocked at my back door. He looked like a guy who'd watched too many spy movies, nervous hands shoved in his pockets. I didn't send the file, he said. But I know who did. Karen's working for Elevate. She's promised a director position if you're gone. He handed me a USB drive with internal emails, fund transfers, meeting notes, everything. Someone's going to get hurt, he said, and it's not going to be her. I turned my living room into an evidence bunker, folders, drives, highlighted notes everywhere. I took the whole mess to the county prosecutor, Amanda Rivas. She barely flinched, just flipped through the files and said, "This might be bigger than a civil matter." I organized timelines, transcribed voicemails, traced shell company payments from HOA funds into Black Ops Consulting, really just the muscle for their campaign against me. The local press got involved thanks to an old contact, Laura Keys, an investigative reporter with a taste for scandal. She dug into the story, found all the right threads, and within days, Summit Hills Watch was a trending topic for all the wrong reasons. Residents wanted audits. They wanted to know where their dues had gone. The quiet rebellion inside the HOA turned into open revolt. Karen tried one last Hail Mary, a forged covenant from 1989, claiming my parcel had always been part of the HOA. The sheriff laughed, the prosecutor wasn't fooled, and the county's own records shredded the claim. Eric became interim chair and started cooperating fully. The neighbors, some of them anyway, began to see the light. The court case was long, brutal, and honestly kind of anticlimactic. Karen didn't even show at first, just her slick attorney whining about stress and misunderstandings. But the evidence, oh, the evidence. Fake documents with her login shell company payments, audio recordings from Eric where she says clear as day if we can't buy him out, we push him out legally or not. When I took the stand, I told them the simple truth, how I'd bought the land, followed every law, and still ended up painted as the villain so a developer could build condos. Eric's testimony was the knockout punch. He described how Karen manipulated the board, silenced dissent, purged records, and promised jobs if they played ball. The jury, regular folks, needed just 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Document fraud, conspiracy, embezzlement, the works. 7 years, no parole for 4. Full restitution to me and the HOA. Civil court tacked on $850,000 for damages. The developer pulled out of the project, washed their hands, and HOA residents voted to strip Karen of every last title and install Eric as acting president. The day the verdict came down, I felt relief, but also this weird hollow ache. It's not like I wanted to be a hero or a martyr or even the guy who fought the HOA and won. I just wanted my land, my silence. The trees on my slope kept growing ignorant of all the drama. Weeks later, I got a letter from the county. Not an email, real paper thick envelope, legally so clear it practically glowed. My Parcel 11R was officially and permanently excluded from any and all Summit Hills Watch jurisdiction. I framed that sucker not for me, but for the next poor soul who tries anything. I put up a sign at the end of my drive, I am not your neighbor, I am your border. It felt right. People ask me what I learned. Here it is, when power goes unchecked, it breeds entitlement, and entitlement makes people dangerous. They'll rewrite history, bend the law, tear down whatever stands in their way, all while calling it community. The only thing that stops them is a paper trail, a stubborn refusal to bow, and sometimes a little help from someone on the inside willing to do the right thing. The neighborhood changed. Fences went up, houses got painted whatever color folks damn well pleased. And the new family in Karen's old place, they wave, but they keep to themselves. I take that as progress. So let me ask you, where's the line between protecting your home and letting someone else write your story? When does community become control? I'd love to hear what you think. If you've been through something like this, or if you've ever tangled with a bully hiding behind rules, drop your story below. Because if there's one thing I know for sure, it's this. Justice only means something if we all keep the receipts.